In an effort to meet a state mandate to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 2020, California is using market forces. California has created a marketplace where a cap is put on the source of the pollution and the right to create more pollution can be traded.
Under cap and trade, the government will establish a baseline level of emissions, and in this case, greenhouse gas emissions, that a source is entitled to emit, and they will establish a declining cap over time.
But how the source, be it a large industrial source or an electricity generator, chooses to reduce emissions is completely up to them. If it is really expensive for one source to control, it can acquire the rights or allowances from other sources that don't have to spend as much to control emissions. Eventually, sources will be able to acquire allowances through auctions conducted by the California Air Resources Board.
The idea is to have a price for these allowances that's approximately close to the cost of actually controlling greenhouse gas emissions.
CARB will issue sources allowances for free at the start of the program.
Over time, an auction system will be established whereby 4 times per year, CARB will conduct an auction, and these allowances will be available for sale.
It is a simple system, but very controversial.
On one side of the coin, a lot of people in industry and people who are worried about the economy are very concerned that cap and trade operates like a tax on carbon. Some of the folks who disagree with cap and trade disagree because they don't believe that carbon regulation should exist at all.
There is also concern that cap and trade could force industry to leave California.
And if it's not imposed universally on a geographic basis, then there's a concern about what they call leakage, which is industries that are subject to cap and trade might just leave the jurisdiction that's applying it and go someplace where they don't have to deal with cap and trade.
On the other side of the equation are those who say that cap and trade programs are not effective enough at reducing greenhouse gas emissions and that the systems may be too vulnerable to manipulation. Nevertheless, California's cap and trade program is scheduled to go into effect in 2012, starting with major industrial sources and electricity generators. In 2015, the program will be expanded to include other sources such as natural gas suppliers, transportation fuels, and smaller industrial sources.
That's when the bulk of the major emission reductions to be obtained from cap and trade between then and 2020 will happen.
And that is when observers in California and throughout the country will begin to learn whether the program is an economic or environmental success story.